Representative Steve Sainz versus challengers Glynn Cook or David Ranier. Who is the pro-gun candidate in House District 180? Stay tuned, guys. We're breaking that race down for you right now. Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Georgia Gun Owners. The May 21 primary is almost here. Early voting is already underway. And for a lot of gun owners in District 180, we're being asked about Representative Steve Sainz versus his two challengers, David Ranier and Glynn Cook. It's this area in extreme southern Georgia, all of Camden counties and portions of Glynn County. And it features a longtime incumbent versus two challengers. And so what GGO has done since the session ended is run through our massive candidate survey program. What we do is we ask all the candidates the same 10 questions on how they would vote on the various gun issues of the day, and we compile that information in addition to any records that the incumbents have to give you guys a thorough snapshot on where these candidates stand when it comes to your Second Amendment rights. I'm going to begin with David Ranier, actually. David Ranier is the only candidate who would return his survey in this race to Georgia gun owners. And when a candidate won't put their views in writing, it's a very, very big alert to us because it usually means that they're a hardcore rhino trying to hide their moderate or rhino-ish views on the Second Amendment. And so for David Ranier, a 100% pro-gun survey is a very, very welcome sign. And what that means is that David has promised not just to vote pro-gun, but to lead in the fight for gun rights. You see, everyone says they're pro-gun in a primary here in Georgia. We have hundreds of so-called pro-gun Republicans in Atlanta, and very few who will sponsor pro-gun bills, very few who will lead in the fight for gun rights. David Ranier has said he will sponsor the Second Amendment Preservation Act. He will sponsor bills like our efforts to ban red flag gun seizures. He will lead in the fight to defend stand your ground law, to defend constitutional carry. Every question we asked him, David Ranier is 100% pro-gun. You can see his survey and other surveys right now on our website at georgiagunowners.org. Now that brings up Glynn Cook. Glynn Cook he just seems to be a pretty angry guy. I'm not sure what the deal is. We reached out to Glynn Cook multiple times. He simply refuses to fill out his candidate survey. And again, in our experience, when a candidate won't do that, that's a very bad sign. So will he support an AR-15 ban? We don't know because he won't tell us. How about gun registration? Will he vote to repeal stand your ground law? What about red flag laws? We don't know anything about where Glynn Cook stands because he simply will not tell us where he stands. Again, that's a very, very dangerous sign. And that brings up the incumbent in this race, Representative Steve Sainz. Now, Steve has been in office since 2019, so he's been there for a while. And frankly, in that time, he has done basically nothing to fight for gun rights here in Georgia. So a couple of things about Steve. He has also refused to fill out his candidate survey program. But unlike Glynn Cook, as an incumbent, we know a lot more about Steve. First of all, we have gone to him for the last couple of years in a row on all of our lobby efforts in Atlanta, and we've asked him, would you co-sponsor the Second Amendment Preservation Act? That was House Bill 293 last year, and this year it was House Bill 1009. And Representative Sainz just pretty much laughed us out of his office. Now, we don't mind that. If they want to be cocky, they can be cocky. That's fine. But this is our time now as a gun rights organization, and it's your time, more importantly, as gun voters, to think about that. So we have a guy who says he's pro-gun. He refuses a candidate survey, and multiple times he refused to support the Second Amendment Preservation Act, which is the hottest issue in gun politics right now here in Georgia. For those who don't know, SAPA legislation is a big deal because what it does is it tells the White House that you're not going to use Georgia cops to enforce federal gun control laws or worse, executive orders. It's how red states protect gun owners from an out-of-control president. Other states have moved and already passed SEPA. That's our goal here for Georgia. And Steve Sainz, when he is smugly in office and has a chance to fight for gun owners, did nothing. Refused to co-sponsor that bill both times. In fact, our most recent review of his website, we didn't even see him mention gun rights on his entire campaign website. Now, I would predict once this video goes live in the district that he might add a tab, right, to his website. So don't be surprised if this is dated information when you see this video. But that's what we've got. A guy who says he's pro-gun, who will not survey, who will not co-sponsor pro-gun bills, who will not file pro-gun bills, who won't even mention gun rights on his website. And guys, I'm sorry to say, it gets even worse than that. Last year, Representative Michelle Au, who is the leading gun control ally for the Democrats in the Georgia House, was granted a hearing on her deadly safe storage bill. The bill number was House Bill 161. What it would do would make Georgians criminals if we have a gun next to our bedside stand at night. It would require us to have our guns locked up virtually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with almost no exceptions. That is straight up gun control, and it benefits just armed criminals and home invaders. The idea that in pro-gun, Republican-controlled Georgia House, we are having hearings on gun control bills. At the same time, they would not hear the Second Amendment Preservation Act is insulting. And Steve Sainz is the vice chairman of the committee that gave Representative Au a hearing on her deadly safe storage bill, House Bill 161. Now, Steve might say, I'm the vice chairman. I'm not the chairman. You can't blame me. That's crap. The vice chairman has the complete authority to stand up at the beginning of the hearing and say, you know what? This is insulting to Georgians. This is harmful to law and order. It's an insult to our Second Amendment. I will not be party to this. But Steve Sainz sat there with that smug smile on his face and did absolutely nothing when this hearing took place. So guys, if you see Steve Sainz between now and Election Day, ask him why he won't co-sponsor SEPA. Ask him why he won't even mention the Second Amendment on his website. Ask him to fill out the GGO candidate survey and tell him to apologize for being party to a hearing on a gun control bill in the House just last year. If you see Glenn Cook, ask him kind of the same question. Why won't you survey? Why won't you put your views in writing? Don't tell me you're pro-gun. It's an election year. Everyone says they're pro-gun. I want to see your views in writing. And finally, if you see David Ranier, thank this guy for standing up and putting his views on our gun rights in writing. Guys, thanks a lot for watching the broadcast. Be sure and share it with everyone you know who cares about freedom. You can find more race breakdowns on our social media platforms and YouTube channel. And guys, to join the fight today, get involved at joinggo.com.